we are live with another episode of the Nights of Transformation. Dun, dun, dun. And today we've got a very different type of transformation because we've got a transformation of, well, first of all, the individual, okay? One man's journey to transform himself and transform the lives of others. But wait, there's more, because we also have the type of transformation is essentially transforming people to help organizations to transform. How cool is that? So it's like multiple transformations today on the Nights of Transformation. And with us, of course, we have the one, the only, the best-selling author with accolades from Tun Mahathir from Malaysia. He's like the prime minister guy, you know, father of Malaysian everything. And also, of course, recently won the HR award for Super HR Poobah or something like that. And he is also, not only that, but he's also the author of the Colored Brain book in Bahasa Melayu, which I can't, there it is, look at that. Komunikasi Warna, colored communication. There you go. So, Johan, take it away. What do you got?
All right. Okay, thank you very much, Arthur. I'm so excited to be here today in this episode of Nights of Transformation. So wow, that's I felt like transformer, transforming and transform. And yeah, thank you very much for having me here. And I look forward for a great conversation with you today. Yeah, it's been a while that since my last conversation live with you. So yeah, look forward to have a very good conversation for today.
So, Johan, you are now the president of MAPS, okay? And just for those of you that has nothing to do with Google or like your phone, right? MAPS is the Malaysian Association of Professional Speakers, okay? See, MAPS, okay? So what it does is basically, well, actually, you've been president now for a year, is that right?
About 6 months or so, 6 to 7
6
months.
It's close. 6 months, a year, you know, in COVID, it all kind of merges together. Okay. So you have done some amazing transformations within MAPS. And there's also, of course, your own personal story, which, you know, I remember very well because, like, you know, you came into being a professional speaker, trainer, consultant through the DC family. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your original kind of transformation from engineer with kind of like a job that sucked to you know, being like, you know, one of the literally, I mean, one of the most sought after trainers in Malaysia using Colored Brain only.
Wow. So that was a very, very long journey. It started off, I was an engineer. I studied engineering for 5 years. I don't like every single second of it. When I was in university, my real passion is to play guitar, and I spend more time playing guitar rather than studying my calculus or algebra or all those stuff. But working as an engineer, after a few years, I couldn't see myself that I can sustain this kind of job for the next 10 years. And in 2008, something happened whereby the economic crisis, a financial crisis in the US. And that leads me to think, because I was working in manufacturing, and in the manufacturing environment, it was so affected. And I was blaming myself because of it. As an engineer, no matter how hard I work, no matter how much I contribute, I can't change things. I can't change the fate of all these operators because of they are losing their jobs. So I have this mindset that I thought that probably marketing is in a better position, because of marketing. If they do the marketing well, they can bring in the business and then can create jobs for more people. And I started to apply for jobs in a marketing department, and I secured a job as a product marketing executive. For the first few months, I was so excited and I was giving ideas how to contribute. And after a while, after about 6 months or so, I started to feel like I'm lost. And I started to find direction. And I asked my boss, my manager at the time, boss, can you please give me direction? Because if you give me direction, then I know what to do and where to go. But my boss, my manager at the time, told me that she said that, Johan, how do I give you direction? Our CEO also keep on changing direction. So from that moment on, I thought that it's not about engineers, it's not about marketing. Everything is about leadership. Because if we have a good leaders in place, then everything will fall into place. So from that moment on, I have this desire to study about leadership. And of course, fast forward, I was conducting one leadership program in 2011. I was working in one of the private university, and I was the program coordinator for one of the leadership program. And it was tons of money invested for that program. But at the end of the day, I felt like I don't learn anything about leadership. And that really make me really frustrated. And from that frustration, it leads me to Google. Who are the leadership guru available out there that I can learn? What are the books that are available out there that I can read? So I read several books. One of it is Robin Sharma, the leader who have no title. Okay, changed my life a bit. But again, I Google. I found out there's top 10 leadership guru, which is Arthur F. Carmazzi. And I said, oh, I want to learn from this guy. I want to learn from him. And then I Google, and then suddenly there's a program happening in Malaysia. And at that time, Lily Lau was running his first batch of colored brain certification. And I just quickly signed up for that program. And from that DC program, it transformed my life until today. I'm no longer an engineer. I'm no longer a marketeer. I am a speaker that speak about leadership and communication, using the colored brain communication as my foundation of my programs. So that's a little bit about me, how I embarked in that journey. And now it's been like how many years I've been in doing colored brain, and I authored a book about colored brain. And I find joy in applying in my real life. It's helped me a lot in my leadership journey, as well as it transforms other people. And the joy is when you train other people to use the stuff, the tools, and then they apply what they learn, and then they can make some serious changes in their organization, and they can transform their cultures. So that gives me a lot of satisfaction, especially after 2-3 years. People came back to me, Johan, what you talk about colored brain, it really makes sense. We apply it in our organization. So that gives me a lot of fulfillment. And I think that's a little bit of contribution in transforming organizations available out there.
Brilliant. And so now you have been using this leadership potential and skill and ability, or at least the ability to transfer this to the people that you lead at MAPS too. I understand you've made some serious improvements and improved membership, many times and so on. So, tell us a little bit about your journey at MAPS and literally creating transformation for the organization.
Wow. Yeah, it's about 6 months journey, but I think the team worked very, very hard. And I believe that this is a result of years of studying about leadership, and I tried to apply it in a non-profit organization. And now I think that the team was very, very engaged. They work well, very, very well with each other. And I personally felt like, I've been running a lot of position in non-profit organizations such as Toastmasters. I've been to BNI. When you talk about all this platform, most of the time, one thing that I notice is normally in a non-profit organization, they have about 7-10 excos, but the person that really did the work, only 2%. The president and maybe the president's best friends in that committee. But I think that shouldn't be. And the reason why that doesn't happen is because of people are busy doing things, and they forgot about their role is actually to lead the things. And I made it very clear that when I hold the position of president, I'm not going to do anything else other than serving the team, so that everyone can work, everyone can contribute, everyone feels that they were really wanting to contribute. And when you work with all these people will have different style, different way of doing things, different perspective, different opinion, and working with people is not easy. It's not easy. But I thank God because of I learned about colored brain, I learned about emotional drive, and because of that, I managed to tolerate. I managed to expand my circle of tolerance. That's a DC language, by the way. So that we can tolerate with each other, and we can look at people's point of view, listen to people, and take up their suggestions, so that they felt like they are part of it, and then they felt like they want to contribute, because at the end of the day they are doing the works, and we are here just to facilitate the process. I think that's the role of leaders, not to dictate, not to say no, you cannot do that, not to throw away other people's idea, but when people come up with suggestion, how do we get the best out of them? I think that's what really matters. And yeah, because of that, I think all portfolios are really committed to their jobs. These are all brilliant people, smart people, and we have achieved, for example, like membership. At the beginning of the term, we have about 30 or so. Probably because of COVID, people are not renewing. But from the events that led by our Vice President of Education, and also they work together with the Vice President Membership, Vice President Socials, and we have a lot of other portfolios. We managed to grow. Right now, we have about 110 or so. So about 3 times more members. And this is because of the team work very, very hard for it.
Brilliant. Okay, so give me some strategies. What were some of the specific strategies that you used to transform the dynamics and the teamwork of the organization?
Okay, first of all, I think as a leader, one thing that I learned that we need to have a clear vision, clear direction where we wanted to bring. At least during my term, I mentioned that we are focusing on 3 things, and these are the 3 agendas that we really need to push on. So meaning first, giving a clear vision. Second, you must allow people to perform based on what they feel they wanted to contribute, and not to dictate. Hey, you shouldn't do this, you must do this, you have to do that, because at the end of the day, people are doing the job, and people have different ways of achieving the same goals. I remember a quote by one of the general, George Patton or something. He said that if you tell people where to go but not how to get there, you'll be amazed at the results. And I've been using this quote every time I talk about colored brain. I train about colored brain. This will be like the one of the quotes that I will use before I end the session. If you tell people where to go but not how to get there, you'll be amazed by the results. And colored brain is about how, the people's how. And if you understand that people's how are different, they cannot be the same how as yours, but the why can be the same, the where to go can be the same, and then you'll be amazed at the results. And now I myself, I was like amazed with the results that being achieved by all of them. So that is, I think, a few things that probably we did right in the overall running the associations.
But if you actually look at a lot of the leadership models out there, and even some of the leadership thinkers, okay, they have literally an opposite philosophy. Okay, they say that you need to tell people, give them clear direction on how to do it. Okay, which of course goes against all of DC, because we're with you, right? Each person has their own how. And and when you start to impose your how on others, well, it doesn't work. But yet, so why is there a discrepancy? Why do you have a certain group of people saying no, you've got to be able to tell people how to do it so that they feel comfortable, and then there's the other side that says, well, no, you gotta eliminate the how and let them figure it out, as long as you have a clear instruction of what the end result is. Okay, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of organizations have this thing called competency model, that people have to follow these certain things, and you have to be good at this. I'm not saying that competency model is bad. Competency model is good to a certain extent, but not too detail of telling people you have to be like this, you have to be like this, you have to be like this. Of course, there are two parts of it. The first part is the skill part. Of course, skill part, everyone can learn the skill, but the being part is individuals. So the being part, we shouldn't change people's example, colored brain. We can't change people's colored brain. I cannot tell people, I don't like you to ask too many questions. Just do as I say. Because of some people, their nature is always asking questions because of they need information in order for them to run stuff. Some people, no, they will say, I don't need to plan. I just do it. The green brainer. And, in our team, we have a green brainer that say, okay, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. How are you going to do that? I'll figure out later, but I'm going to do this. And then as they go along, they'll figure out, and then we improve along the way. And you see, when people improve, you can see people's progress. They are improving along the way. But we cannot expect the same thing happen to probably another individual, which is purple brain. Purple brain, they need to understand every single thing before they can even move on to the next step. So I can't really like say, oh, why you didn't all this information? Because I'm green, right? Why you need all this information in order for you to do this? No, because of if they ask for information, I just need to supply with information. Because of once they get all the information, they're happy with it, then they can perform their best in whatever roles that they are in. So yeah, that's my opinion about how to engage a team.
All right. Okay. Because, again, I mean, when you're talking about like colored brain, for example, I mean, structure is very important for red brains, right? So having that structure and having a specific path to follow, or at least structure, is important. But then again, when you get to the green brain, it's counterproductive. So how do you balance between, different processes in order to, in a mixed group of people?
Okay, I think first of all, it is important to first of all facilitate. Number two is also very, very important to listen. Listens from perspective, because of when you listen, then you can see, this is the perspective of this person. And as a leader, the most important part is actually to align all these differences. How do you align all these differences so that everybody can move towards the same direction, even though they might have slightly different process, slightly different ways of achieving it? So yeah, I think that's the three key in order for us to work with different colors. And I think conflict is good in a team. There will, in any team there will be conflicts. Why? Because of people are different, and because of these differences, it creates conflict. It is not about how to eliminate the conflicts. It's not about how to keep people out of conflict, but how to deal with the conflict effectively, so that even though we have conflicts, we allow that positive conflicts to happen, so that people can voice out. People can coming out with brilliant ideas that we might not think of, and make use of this conflict. And at the end of the day, when we resolve this conflict, people are more committed to whatever they do, because of at least they have this feeling that they have been listened to. And I think this is one of the model from Patrick Lencioni, right? You have to have conflicts first, then only people can get committed, and when people take accountability, then only you can produce results.
Well, and this goes back to when we're talking about colored brain, for example. When when you have a multifaceted group, it's not that, for example, the behavior. You can say, oh, you need to be analytical, okay, in order to solve these, in order to achieve this job. The only problem is that often people are expecting the same process of analysis. So it's not like, you can't be analytical if you're, one color, and you can be analytical if you're a different color. All colored brains can be analytical. It's just that because they have different ways of getting clarity, I mean, essentially that's where it goes into a different way of being analytical. Okay, and that's where a lot of the conflict sometimes comes from. So it's essentially the foundation of my how is different than your how, so therefore your how is wrong. And even though the end result and even the behavior might be the same,
Yeah, totally agree with that.
All right. So, what are some of the other things that you have implemented along your journey in not just in maps, but also in working with organizations? What are some of the biggest triumphs that you have achieved with different organizations through your work?
Okay. I'm not really sure how to answer that questions because right now my focus is how do we actually as a speaker, as a trainer, as a consultant, as a coach, how do we actually create because of I can sense that there is a gap in the market whereby people are not willing to pay for consultants. People are not willing to pay for speakers because of we have this perceptions of speakers don't provide value that deserve them to be paid. So one of the things that I wanted to work with under especially under maps is how do we create um, competent people so that this trainers, speakers, consultant can go out there and really create difference, create values to organization. And the way to do that is actually you need to really have a good content, good perspective, good wisdom that you can transfer to the organization. Because of one of thing that I notice is I am good at certain things. I'm good at, for example, like people ask me to train on colored brain. So I think I can give good values to our clients that clients can feel the difference before and after their programs. So after attending the programs, they will feel like yeah, after attending your program, my way of looking the world is different, and because of that, I can deal with people differently, and we can reduce all these non-productive conflicts and focusing on how to achieve the results. So I think that's the value that we bring in using some of the tools in colored brain and also people management, conflict management, and things like that. Sorry, what's your question just now? Okay, so yeah,
It's
my
okay.
green.
You're doing good. So, okay. So let us continue on with, okay. So why is it that you feel that people are not, appreciating speakers? So you've got, okay, one of the things you said is basically content. So a lot of the people don't have content. I mean, that's one of the biggest problems actually is they go to Google and they just copy paste a whole bunch of stuff. But these are not really the professionals, right? So the professionals are ones who really understand the subject, and more importantly, they're the ones that understand the company in relationship to their knowledge. Okay, because every company is different, and so the often I think that speakers or trainers or consultants, they just say, "Oh, I'm a consultant, so therefore I just go in," and they don't really understand the culture of the organization. They don't understand the actual dynamics that are going on in the organization. They don't understand the level of trust. They don't understand the level of brand congruency. They basically just go in and just say, "Here, this is I'm going to do this for you." With so it's kind of like you go to Google Maps and you put in your destination, but you don't put in your starting point. It's going to be difficult to get anywhere because there's no way to make a map if you don't know where you're starting. Okay,
Yeah,
and this is where I think a lot of that comes from or from some people who don't take the time to really understand the organization in advance. Okay, for example, they'll give like a presentation that is a standard presentation instead of a customized presentation. Okay, let's say for example, when you're doing a presentation for a specific organization, a lot of times everybody's got these really cool slides and everything else, and but if you're going to try to actually get them to believe you, you want to use images from their organization for your slides, not from some standard kind of thing, right? And people forget that the people that are making decisions, they're still human beings. And those people are still going to deal with things, even though they may be very logical, they're still going to have that emotional thing. And if I take the time as a speaker, consultant, trainer to understand you, well, they're going to respect me more, and I have a better chance of basically getting any kind of project from you, because you know that I know you. I mean, it's the same thing with getting a date, right?
Yeah, one of the biggest problem that I notice in the market is people confuse between a great speaker and a professional speaker. They thought that they are great at doing public speaking. They are great at talking. Sometimes people went to Toastmasters, and then they can speak. Wow, was very fiery kind of speech, and then there's no speech crutches, no arm, no perfect grammar, and because of that, they think that they are great speakers and they should charge people for them to speak. And then people will ask, oh, what do you speak on? And people say, oh yeah, I can do everything. I can do problem solving. I can do negotiation. I can do customer service. I can do every single thing under the sun. They are great speakers. And because of that, like what you said, and then people say, okay, can you do on customer service? Yes, I can. And then they Google on customer service, best customer service practice, blah blah blah, and coming up with some certain slides and speak about that slides. And then of course the presentation is great in terms of delivery, but the insights, the perspective, the wisdom is not there to transfer. And because of that, people don't get value, because of the same information they can find it from Google. Why should I pay you more? And I have this problem with some celebrity speakers that they came in and then they charge quite low because of they have some other jobs to do. And then they charge very low, and then they create a perceptions that this is what, because of they can speak well, they can engage well, people they can make people laugh, and people like them as a person. And then after half a day, then okay, thank you, bye bye. And then people don't get any takeaways. People don't get any value from there. And because of that, people have this perception, why should I pay high for people to entertain us? So that's the problem between professional speakers and great speakers. And I think what trainers, speakers, consultants should do is actually to really perfecting the craft, so that they can number one, totally understand the organization, and from the insights, the depth of knowledge that they have, the wisdom that they have, how can they give certain kind of perspective so that people in their organization will see things differently and can appreciate things differently. And that is where the value comes from, and that is where I think people can charge slightly more. I'm fortunate because of I met Arthur many years ago, because of we have certain I think from DC, there's a package of DC that provide me with a content that ready for me to give value. But I think I spend a lot of times to mastering some of the content, that the philosophy behind it, the context behind it, so that it can give some perspective towards the client. And if we can build more of this, then people feel like, speakers can give value, and because of that, we want to pay speakers more. So it's not about being great. Okay, why I'm telling you this? Because of I play music and I can play guitar. And those of you who are following me in my Facebook or whatever, you can see that I'm great at playing guitar, and I can play any, you name it, any Metallica song or Steve Vai or whoever, I can play it. But the problem is, because of I good at playing guitar, doesn't mean that people will pay me for playing guitar. The most that I got paid playing guitar is when I play for they pay me about 100 ringgit, 200 ringgit. Why? Because of I'm not professional. Even though I'm great, but I'm not professional. So that is where
technically, if you get paid, you're automatically a professional guitar player. Even one ringgit
yeah, but it's not my profession to play guitar. And because of that, I played because hobby, I played because of hobby. And there's one realization that I have. One day I attended this one concert. It's a reunion concert of after 20 years. They get separated and get together again. So it was about 14,000 or 15,000 people attended in the stadium, watching that concert. So at one point, because of I really love that band, so I memorized all the songs and I can play guitar for all the songs. But at one point, I felt like the bassist was having some problems. You have to send the bassist to the hospital immediately. He's short of breath, and I was thinking like, wow. So the show was like pause for a while, and I was thinking like, why don't I just jump on stage and I just grab the guitar and then just play the guitar, and because if I can play the song. But my second thoughts, who wants to listen to Johan playing that song? Because of that, it's not Johan's song. That is their song. So it's like people want to listen to Bon Jovi singing Bon Jovi song. People don't want to listen to Johan singing Bon Jovi song because of it's different. It's different. It's not original. So when we talk about professionals, in other words, people don't want to listen to Johan, no matter how great Johan is playing that song. People don't want to listen to that. People want to listen to professionals do things. So that's why I'm so much advocate of how we can transform our career to become professionals so that people value us more and people are willing to pay us more for the work that we do. So that is in a nutshell what I felt like what professionals should become. Not how great you are, but how you can actually, because of when at that time the band was Butterfingers. If Butterfingers sing that song, the value is huge. But if Johan play that song, that not so much value, even though I can play well, I can play perfect songs. So, yeah. So that's my realization from that incident.
So, if you are basically taking the idea of making a professional someone that can essentially give visible results and value, okay, I mean that's basically your definition, which I agree. I mean, ultimately, that's what people pay for. They want some kind of visible result, okay, or maybe at least even if it's a little bit of a result, but having some kind of something that can be measured. And that again is also one of the reasons why I think you've been very successful, because you've got all the DC tools like the culture evolution tool, which benchmarks culture before you even start. That way they can actually, people can actually see the impact that you as a consultant or speaker or trainer have made, is because you benchmark it with the culture tool, and then after you do your thing, they check again, and you can see actual visible results. And of course, that's also what builds up your reputation and allows you to get paid more. So measurement, I think, is going to be the real key as to how people are going to be able to show their professionalism and how people are going to be able to get paid more and more and more. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the words that you use just now is reputation. The reputation is very, very important because of people wanting to look at what you have been offering all this while and how do I trust you. So the branding part of it is also very, very important, because of brand is a promise. No matter how good a product made from China is, people just don't want to pay if they don't have certain kind of reputation, because of they are not proven. There's nothing that they can promise. But some of China product was very, very successful because of they brand it very, very well, and then they make sure they keep their promise on that branding, so that whoever buying that product will receive the value that they expected. So I think that the reputation is very, very important, and I think DC has been doing this very, very well with developing the whole ecosystem, the whole tools, so that the reputation is there, so that people can trust. People can trust whoever delivering certain kind of product. These are the results that they can produce, and for that, I'm very much grateful for using being able to use all the proprietary tools that provided by DC.
Well, Johan, thank you so much. So now, we're coming to the end of the show. So what, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, they want to, do leadership, colored brain, how do they find you?
Okay, the best way to find me is on LinkedIn. Just type my name, Johan Irwan K, in any other platform, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, that's one of the way. Also can visit me at my company's website is www.leap.com.my. So that's where the stuff there, but it's not so much updated. But LinkedIn is still the best way to get in touch.
All right, brilliant. And any last words before we go?
Yeah, my last words. Yeah, I think Nights of Transformation. I think 21st century is all about constant transformation. We need to constantly evolve. We need to create a culture that allows people to transform in a way that being agile in dealing with stuff. And I think with that we need to have a strong culture so that people can perform the best that they could, and at the same time providing value to the organization, to the society, and at the end of the day to make this world a better place.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Thank you very
All
much,
right.
Arthur.
Thank you, Johan. Thank you so much for joining me. And well, that's it for today's Nights of Transformation. Dun, dun, dun. And so we'll see you next week. And Johan, thanks again for being here. Was really fun and some very insightful ideas. So we'll see you again next week.
Thank you.